Welcome back everyone for a snake in a jail. Cobra Kai Season 5 Watch Party. After Silver backstabbed Kreese at the end of Season 4, everyone has wondered exactly what he will do with the dojo now. Well, in the past few weeks we got our first look at how Cobra Kai will expand in Season 5. Now that he is no longer the tofu-eating vegetarian diet Terrence Silver and has some testosterone, he'll massively expand Cobra Kai. There will be dojos all over the valley, and he's hiring new senseis to staff them. Now, Kreese is perhaps the biggest question concerning Season 5. He was on top of the karate world, only to have the rug pulled from under him. He was arrested, betrayed. He's put away for a crime he didn't commit.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
But still, there's quite a lot of wrong things he did do. Plus, he tended to push his students to fight a little too hard.
You show your enemy no mercy.
But if he's in jail now, what's happening? That's where things get interesting. From the press release last week, we learned that one of these new senseis will be Kim Da-Eun from South Korea. She's likely the granddaughter of Master Kim Sun-young, who trained Captain Turner. I covered her in my previous video that you'll want to check out. But what's important here is that it confirms a leak from last year that mentioned a new character with that name, Kim Da-Eun, as joining the cast. You see, Kim Da-Eun was only one of two new characters revealed in the leak. The second almost certainly concerns Kreese. In addition to Kim Da-Eun, the other new character is Dr. Emily Folsom. She's listed as being in her 50s or 60s. She is caring but exhausted with the world around her. Yeah, who isn't, right? Here's the important part. She works as a prison therapist and is a very observant individual. Yeah, that reveals a lot. She is a prison therapist. Well, who's going to prison? Yeah, this guy. What's he doing in prison? Having sessions with Dr. Folsom, it appears. While past seasons had Kreese in grandiose moments as he's running and ruling Cobra Kai, Season 5 will have Kreese like we've never seen him before, in a room one-on-one with a therapist. I suspect this is how we'll see Kreese for most of the season. I will point out that Dr. Emily Folsom may not be the final name. Sometimes they change names around for any reason, but ultimately the character will be the same. Now the therapy is probably court-ordered anger management or some such. Imagine Kreese's character arc concerning this. You can be certain first off Kreese will reject all this nonsense. He doesn't have a problem, you have a problem. He knows what he's doing. He knows what it takes to survive, what it takes to win. Besides, he was set up, the whole thing is a fraud. He shouldn't even be here. Basically, I can imagine Kreese is not in episode 1 at all. Episode 1 deals with everything else going on. Then Kreese shows up in episode 2 after all the court stuff has taken place and he's been sentenced to this anger management therapy or whatnot. He's uncooperative, obviously. He doesn't want to be there. He has nothing to say to this woman. At least not unless she wants to learn the way of the fist from him. But then, what 50-year-old court therapist wants to learn karate from her inmate patient? The point is, not much happens. There's no progress in episode 2. Maybe the same in episode 3. Then somewhere towards the middle, something happens. Somehow it triggers a conversation. Maybe they relate to something. Maybe it's talk about something else that leads to a more internal look. Now, does this affect Kreese? Does therapy somehow change him? The answer isn't inherently obvious. Kreese is old. The primary characteristic of people his age is he's set in his ways. He knows what he knows. He thinks what he thinks and he's convinced he's right. So I don't think we'll see any direct change like that. What may happen is Dr. Folsom opens him up to different perspectives. Ever since the fighting bridge in Vietnam, Kreese has never entertained or considered any other perspective. You recall in Season 4 how perturbed he got when Silver suggested he had a weakness. Kreese could never let any counter to his worldview exist, and he snuffed that out and put Silver in his place. But the doctor? She's coming from a different angle and is in a very different situation. Kreese can't manipulate her the way he did Silver. I imagine somewhere along the way this is where Kreese starts opening up. We could certainly learn more about his mom or how he reacted to Betsy's death, but I don't think that is the key. This is not an info dump. It's pretty lame to use therapy as a way for a character to reveal backstory or how he feels. Instead, imagine it more as a back and forth. Kreese's ideals and visions are directly or indirectly challenged by this therapist. That would make for a more compelling story. This will be Kreese like we've never seen him before. Not even when he was in the cage in Nam was his situation like this. He's trapped like then, but it's different. He's not facing certain death, he's just facing a woman in a chair on the other side of the table. A woman whose only job is to get him to look inward about himself. That is one thing he's never had to face. Silver was always on his side and subordinate to him. Johnny was his student. He was like his son. He did face Amanda, but that was entirely different circumstances, with a different result. So the essential question is, after Kreese battles this therapist, then eventually opens up with her, what happens? Does he somehow massively change into a good reformed man? Well, no. I think such a simplistic arc wouldn't serve the character or the story. But I think the one place where Kreese will change is his relation to Johnny. If there's any spot this therapist would hit on, it's him. This is where Kreese probably has deeper regrets in his life. Johnny was the closest he ever had to his son. He believed in him. He wanted Johnny to win, not just for the victory, but to avoid the inevitable pitfalls. That was the key scene in Season 4. We saw a different side of Kreese, or more properly, we saw the events from his side. This hallway scene, in a way, is the forerunner for whatever happens with Kreese and this new doctor. It also adds a bit of symmetry to the show. Kreese realizes his mistakes with Johnny and wants to amend that. Meanwhile, Johnny is realizing his mistakes with Robbie and is obviously trying to fix that broken relationship. To make this situation even more melodramatic, Johnny also has to fix what he messed up with Miguel, and Miguel has to establish some sort of relationship with his father. It's not the healing that is taking place, it's the moment that can lead to self-reflection. His self-realization, I was so committed to this Cobra Kai thing, I ruined the only personal relationship that meant anything to me. He's an old man with no family and whose only best friend literally betrayed him. If there's any personal relationship that will ever mean anything to Kreese, it will be with Johnny. So maybe somewhere towards the end of the season, Kreese gets out of jail. I guess it depends on how this all works, we'll see. But maybe before revenge and no mercy, he wants to seek out Johnny and make their relationship right. The key is the timing. Kreese tried something here, but it was the middle of the tournament, and Miguel was injured. Johnny was in a bad mindset. Plus, Silver kinda messed everything up at the old dojo. It wasn't going to work, not here. But that is basic storytelling. Before some major change, the character should try at least once and fail. Kreese failed at reconciling with Johnny, but it's from that failure that the way forward is established. So for Season 5, be prepared for Kreese like you've never seen him. Small, confined, one-on-one with himself and a prison therapist. If the writing is on par, this could be the most gripping scenes of the season. We'll have to see. I have some various other videos on Kreese you may want to check out. Character analysis and Season 5 predictions. I'll be back with more soon. Have a great day. I'll see you at the next watch party.
John, what did you do?
It's behind your back.